we get the Fight for Patchwork engine in action to summon out Guardian Chimera. All aspects of the deck in action. Let's go over my deck of the MATERIACTOR Goblin Biker Guardian Chimera deck. So here, let's go over the MATERIACTORs. I have 3 MATERIACTOR Exoraptors, and we have 3 Zeptwings, with a actual 4th copy in the form of a Sangan Kaiman, since it adds a level 4 or lower fire dragon monster, which Zeptwing is. We also have the 2 normal monsters in our deck, the Prima MATERIACTORs, which is very crucial for the Exoraptor and also the Zeptwing by adding them from the deck to the hand, and it can attach itself from the Pendulum Zone to a MATERIACTOR Xyz monster in order to get a draw. And the only MATERIACTOR Xyz monster I'm playing is the Exiguard here, which can detach in order to special summon a MATERIACTOR from your deck, which is basically the only thing I did this with. And I also have the Gigadra, just a 1-off copy since it's not the best one, but it is a 1-card starter for a rank 3 monster. And then I don't play any spells and traps for MATERIACTORs, just as a level 3 spam engine to get into our rank 3s. And let's go onto the Goblin Biker section. We have 1 Dug Charger, we have a Clatter Sploder, we also have a Boom Mop, and I also have 2 spells. We have the Grand Breakout, and we also have the Royal Rare Grand Entrance. And we also have the Xyz monsters, just Goblin Biker Binkabonga. I have 2 copies because to play around a Kashtira Unicorn. Now let's go over to the Guardian Chimera, how to summon it. Basically, you have Fight for Patchwork here, which can add an Agent monster and 1 Polymerization from your deck to the hand. You just play 1 Polymerization and 1 Agent Sabers here as a target, which is level 3. And a pretty good discard, since if this card is in the graveyard, you can place a card from your hand on the top of the deck. Special summon this card in defense position. Not only is it a good discard, you can also put the bricks from your hand back into the deck, such as the full armored Xyz, maybe the Takitomborg, and the Prima MATERIACTORs. If you don't want this in your hand, you still can search it with the Exoraptor or the Zeptwing, or special summon it from the deck with the Gigadra. So very nice there. Let's go over our extenders here. First, we have the Speedroid Terratop as a 1-card rank 3, very nice, with the Takitomborg target. We also have dangers here, 2 Jackalope, 2 Tsuchinokos as extenders, and also discards for the Exoraptor, since you have to discard for its effect, and also have to discard for the Gigadra. And it can also activate the danger effects themselves to summon themselves as not link 3 but level 3 bodies. And then we also have Emergency Teleport, and this summons out the only psychic monster that I play, which is 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbits. And for the non-engine, we have 14 hand traps, I think, 3 Droll, 2 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. And then we also have the 1 of target for the Armored Xyz package, the full Armored Xyz here. And that is everything in the main deck. Extra deck, the Guardian Chimera, yep, you already know that. With the Totem Bird, which is 2 level 3 wind monsters, which can be the Speedroid Terratop and the Takitomborg, just as a spell and trap card negate. Going second for Imperm, Call by the Grave, you name it. We also have Super Quantal Mech Grand Pulse as a spell and trap card in destruction, or just a generic rank 3. We have the Pseudo Monster Negate with the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. We have Cicada King as another monster negate for on-field activations of monster effects. You have the Ashura King, which can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it, which is at minimum 3 unless you detach with its other effect. When a monster effect is activated, you can detach in order to negate the activation and destroy that card. You have the Xyz Armor Torpedo as basically the main way into getting into the Armor Fortress, since it detaches 2 materials, since that's necessary for the fortress, since you can only Xyz summon on top of this card if it has no materials attached to it. So when you detach 2 from the torpedo, it has 0, overlay the fortress over it, and then detach 1 with the fortress to add the armored XZs. And now this card has no materials, which means you can overlay into the full armored Dark Knight Lancer. And then we have the 2 level 3 combo pieces that you already know that I named. We also have the Rotten, the Heavenly General, a Link monster to destroy Scareclaw Tryhard, the Link 3 Scareclaw monster that puts all monsters on the field to defense position. And here we have the last XZ monster, the Digital Bug Horobage, which just XZ summons over a rank 3 Insect XZ monster by detaching 2 materials from it. And that would just be your Cicada King. And this card can detach material to target a defense position monster your opponent controls to shuffle it into the deck. That's basically all it does here. And that is the deck profile. Be sure to watch all the duels because it goes over crucial details such as why certain cards are being played, how they're played, and why I'm playing a certain number of a card. Let's go over the games. I am going first with our MATERIACTOR Goblin Biker Guardian Chimera deck. So let's see what this deck does in action. So here we're gonna establish 2 level 3 monsters, and that's pretty much all you have to get in order to go full combo here. But here, just gonna get an extra draw, whatever, fine, good for me. And we draw Speedroid Terratop, which is useless since I've already normal summoned here. Gonna get the Zepwing, which adds a MATERIACTOR monster, and then I can also special summon a normal level 3 monster from my graveyard, which was the from a MATERIACTOR in my graveyard. 2 level 3s, go into Big Gabonga, and then grab the Dug Charger, and then summon out the Dug Charger by detaching, which adds a spell/trap on summon for goblins. And then get the Grand Entrance to add, and then detach to summon the Clatter Exploder from my hand to the field. Level 3s again, go into the XZ's armor package here. So we're going to rank up, add, rank up, draw, rank up. And we have the full armor Dark Knight Lancer here. And here we have triple disruptions. So we have MATERIACTOR Exiguard, where if an opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can add up to 2 materials from this card, including a MATERIACTOR card, which I do have 2 of them. And then if a normal monster is in your grave, you can return 1 card on the field to the hand, which we do have a normal monster from a MATERIACTOR. And we also have Big Gabonga here, where if a material is detached from a monster on the field, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field, attach it to this card as material. We also have the Dark Knight Lancer, where if an equipped card becomes equipped to a monster, you can attach 1 monster your opponent controls to this card as material, which would be the graveyard effect with full armored XZs after I use its first effect to actually XZ summon on my opponent's turn, banish it to target an XZ monster in my graveyard, and then equip it to one of my XZ monsters that I control, which will trigger the Dark Knight Lancer. Super good, very nice for just 2 level 3 monsters. My opponent here is playing the Prediction Princess deck, which is probably the loner. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what that archetype does. I've never used Prediction Princesses before, and I don't think I've even versed against the new support of that deck. So I'm going to detach here to trigger the Big Gabonga before my opponent can summon and activate its effect on summon. So here you're going to trigger Big Gabonga, and now they're going to target Big Gabonga to put it in face down defense position. But I learned something new here. You can't summon with face down XZ monsters to XZs, but you can attach monsters to face down XZ monsters. So here my opponent's gonna activate the QQ here, going to summon out another level 3. We have 3 level 3 monsters. Activate the full armored XZs to go into a Shuriken to checkmate my opponent. If they XZ summon any quick effect nonsense, can a Shuriken negate it? Here we have the Exiguard, which can add 2 to the hand, and then return a card in the field to the hand, and return that card to the hand, which I probably shouldn't have done that since they can just set it again, but oh well. We can banish to equip to the Dark Knight Lancer and then trigger it to attach my opponent's XZ monster to it as material. So now it's our turn again. My opponent's face-up trap card does nothing because it just puts face down defense position monsters to face up attack position. And here we get the Fright for Patchwork engine in action to summon out Guardian Chimera. All aspects of the deck in action, super good. Destroy my opponent's last card, and it is a Book of Tile, useless. We have more than enough damage here. A Shuriken King can attack as many times as it has materials attached to itself, and we can attack for game. I am going first again. Very nice, I'll take it. We have Speedroar Terratop as a 1-card rank 3, but my opponent here has a infinite impermanence. Alright, so it gets negated, but I do have another Speedroar Terratop that I can normal summon next turn, and then I can still activate its effect since I didn't add the Take Tomborg this turn. I'm just going to normal summon the Prima Materiactor, then I get a normal level 3 monster in my graveyard to summon out with the Zep Wing as its additional effect to not only add from the deck to the hand, but also special summon a normal monster level 3 from my graveyard. Super good value for a card that can even special summon itself from the hand if you control not just a Materiactor monster, a Materiactor card. That is a good card in an archetype if I've ever seen one. And since my opponent only had the impermanence, I didn't need to activate the emergency teleport here, which is a very nice addition in this deck because it summons out a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit that I played 2 copies of, a level 3 psychic monster. And what makes this so good, the emergency teleport, when it summons out the Ghost Ogre can not only activate its effect from the hand, but also on the field as well. The emergency teleport acts as an extender by summoning out a level 3 body, and it can also act as a board breaker going second by summoning out the Ghost Ogre when I go second and destroying whatever my opponent has on the field if they decide to activate one of their monster effects. And it can also summon Ghost Ogre on my opponent's turn going first by activating emergency teleport just like this. And here my opponent has the Fateful Adventure. Honestly, I probably should have chained it to the activation of the Fateful Adventure, not after it resolved, because now it just triggers to add an equip card, because if they have another one, they can still activate the other effect of the Fateful Adventure. And here they have the Rite of Aramis here, and they summon out a dangerous card here, the Dino Wrestler Pankratops. I'm here going to add 2 from the Exegard to the hand to return the adventure token into no existence at all, the Shadow Realm. So it's gone now. And I'm going to detach to force out the Pankratops by targeting it with the Big Gabonga. And they're going to tribute it. And unfortunately, I can't chain the... what is this called? I can't chain the Cicada King because it's technically not a monster that activated its effect on the field. Kind of like how Pankratops would activate if it were up against a face-up skill drain. But that's alright, I have more than enough disruptions here. Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. All my opponent has is an Illegal Knight, and it does not have enough attack to beat over any of my Xyz monsters. They knew their fate was sealed. We're going first with a very good going first hand, and honestly a pretty good going second hand as well. We have Terratop as a 1-card rank 3, and since I have access to 2 more level 3 monsters, I'm gonna go into the monster pseudo negate Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, and I can summon out the Jackalope to draw and summon out Edgimp Sabers, 2 level 3 monsters. Go into the Exegard here, and I did start this time with the Fright for Patchwork, which I want to talk about here. I'm only playing 1 Edgimp Sabers and 1 Polymerization. Initially when building this deck, I did think of playing 2 Edgimp Sabers because since Edgimp Sabers can return a card from your hand into the deck, on turn 3 you can return the Polymerization if you don't want to use it back into the deck, and then you'll still have Polymerization and a second Edgimp Sabers in the deck, so then you can still activate a second copy of the Fright for Patchwork to add a Edgimp Sabers and a Polymerization, the same Polymerization again. So that's what I thought about doing. But then, honestly, being realistic, the chances of you actually getting a second card for Patchwork in the same duel is not very likely, especially in a 47 card deck. So I just decided to play one Polymerization and one Edge Imp Sabers, and that worked pretty well for me. So I reduced the number of bricks, since you can only normal summon really Edge Imp Sabers unless you discard it. Here my opponent has a Kaiju, and I'm going to activate Droll and Lockbird, which successfully resolves. Well, my opponent has the one of Kashtira Fenrir. They also have the Triple Tactics talents, and they have the Ghost Ogre. Oh my gosh, they literally have everything. Absolutely wild. So they're going to rip apart my board, literally. So here, they're going to Tribute Summon for the Kashtira Unicorn. For some reason they didn't activate its effect during main phase 1. They're going to go into battle phase, but they forgot about the full armored XZs. Can rank up into my second copy of my XZ's Armor Fortress. Not the scenario I thought I would have a second copy of that being used in, but here they forgot about the full armored XZs again, where I can equip to gain attack and it gets destroyed by battle. They're going to summon into defense position. Why I have a second Armor Fortress is to just make my rank 3 bodies bigger and more attack points. But here my opponent couldn't keep up with this advantage. We pulled through, even though they had everything. We're going first, and we have a MATERIACTOR and also an emergency teleport, but my opponent Ash Blossoms it, so I don't have access to 2 level 3s. Not good at all, because I have to pass turn. I can only normal summon 1 level 3, and that's the extent of what I can do. But since I can't do more than that, no point in having this set on the field or normal summoning it. So we're just going to leave it in the hand, especially when I have Terror Top. My opponent is playing Kashtiras, so they don't have what it looks like a Kashtira Unicorn. So they're just going to summon out Ogre, add the preparations, set 3 more and pass. That is kind of scary. Here we have Goblin Biker Grand Entrance, but my opponent has Solemn Warning. Oh, double-edged sword by having Grand Entrance, not only adding but having an effective special summon, which meets the condition of Solemn Warning, even though I don't even control an Xyz monster to detach in order to special summon a Goblin monster. But it doesn't work like that, because I don't know, somehow an Xyz monster can be summoned and then have a material attached to it. That's kind of wild, and that's probably never gonna happen. Here my opponent has the one of the limited copy of Anti-Spell Fragrance, and they have the semi-limited copy of the Kashtira Unicorn. I didn't think they would get a Kashtira monster, and they're going to not only banish one of my big Gabongas, but also have the MATERIACTOR in the extra deck, which means I don't have access to it anymore, because I only play 2 Pendulum monsters, just the 2 MATERIACTORs. So now that one in the extra deck is permanently there. Going to bait out the Solemn Judgment here. They play Solemn cards, so gonna bait it out the Solemn cards with the Polymerization. They look at my extra deck, they know I have Guardian Chimera. They want to deny that for sure. And I'm going to now Exy summon into the Exiguard. Very nice. Until they have Infinite Impermanence. Oh no, not good at all. Because now I'm stopped. Thankfully, baited out 2 of my opponent's trap cards. And they also lock themselves as well with the Anti-Spell Fragrance. And I have the counter to their spell card there with the Ash Blossom. Gonna return their Kashtira Unicorn so they can't add Kashtira Birth. I don't know why they summoned this out first. Okay, I'll take it. And now they have the, there it is, the Kashtira Theosis, which is met by the Ash Blossom. And now all they have is a Ogre to my Exiguard here, and unfortunately it can beat over my Exiguard. The thing I was beating myself up over is this card, Exiraptor, has another effect. You can discard this card and target 1 rank 3 Xyz monster you control. It gains 1500 attack until the end of the turn. Oh, if this was in attack position, I could have destroyed this, but honestly, that wasn't what I should have done, otherwise they would have had a clear field to special summon out the unicorn in their main phase too. So it's kind of good that my exit guard was in defense position here. And thankfully the Exoraptor can add from the graveyard to the hand as well, which means I have access to 2 level 3s, super good. And now can Xyz summon into Torpedo, which they didn't banish. And this is the only Xyz monster that I have that can detach 2 materials in order to detach another material with Armor Fortress and have no materials on the Fortress, because if you didn't know, you can't Xyz summon over this card if this card has materials on itself. But if they did end up banishing the Torpedo here, since I have the Goblin spell here, which detaches, I can just summon out the Super Quantal Mech Beast Grand Pulse to detach one and then destroy one of my opponent's spell and trap cards, and then detach the last material with the Goblin spell, then still overlay into the Fortress. And my opponent summoned out a huge Nibiru token, and they would have been attacked for game with the token.